Pontificating pretentiousness. Create a channel, join chat. Pontificating pretentiousness. Pontificating pretentiousness. Should I have like a, I should be a little bit more professional and have some sort of a backdrop to this. But hey there, fellas. So today I thought I would just talk briefly about one of the more kind of egregious, not egregious, but one of the more kind of interesting things that's happening in Magic right now, which is this current lawsuit with two streams, one pig. That's how it is, dog. But yeah, this current lawsuit with David Copperfield and what's going on with him. So I've been doing a little bit of a hot research on this, and I find the whole thing to be very, very funny, just in terms of what's going on. It seems like a shit show in the courtroom, which is often the case when it comes to these like high-profile celebrity courtroom dramas. But this one in particular has the added twist, the curveball, the Randy Johnson fastball of it being related to Magic, and obviously has to involve Copperfield, showing how he did pretty much the closer of his act on pretty much a public forum. So this is kind of a very interesting thing that I kind of want to just take a look at and just talk a little bit about, maybe get your kind of opinions on it, because it is a fairly interesting thing in the Magic community. So pretty much what's going on, if you guys are not familiar, is that in 2013 David Copperfield did his Lucky 13 trick on stage. He's done this trick numerous times, obviously, and by numerous I mean thousands of times. From my understanding, he performs twice in Las Vegas every day, I think twice, and he's been going strong for many years. But in this particular instance, what the trick entails is that you pretty much have 13 participants from the audience who are randomly selected with giant balls. Let me see if I could show you guys what it kind of looks like here. But it's fairly interesting. Let me take this out, big logo. So let's play this real quick.
And women from the audience, you will be selected at random. We're going to hang you in the air and make you disappear.
Okay, so I really don't want to have the audio on this that much, but I'll go through it because I feel like I'm going to get a copyright strike if I keep doing that. But pretty much the trick is fairly simple. He has 13 people picked from the audience at random, right? And then obviously these people are brought up on stage, and they're put on a platform that's high above the stage. So they are then pretty much put there one at a time. Copperfield does his usual banter. He's very skilled when it comes to the bants. But these 13 participants are put on a platform, and this platform is raised on the stage, right? And pretty much what ends up happening is that they end up disappearing and reappearing behind the audience. So they end up disappearing and reappearing behind the audience. So at this point right now, they should be gone. So they should be gone at this point, and they should be making their way to the back platform. And you notice that the 13 members of the audience are then mysteriously shown all the way in the back, right? So they're shown in the back there. So it's a very simple thing. It's a very simple thing once you think about it. You have a large group of people from the audience. They are made to disappear on stage. You know, everything's pretty much convinced, or he adds convincers to make sure that people think they are still on the platform. However, they are ushered out through a secret platform, and they make their way towards the back of the building. Where this goes wrong is that there was one particular individual, I think his name is David Cox, I think, Gavin Cox, sorry, David Cox is somebody else, but Gavin Cox. He was at a Copperfield show, and this took place in 2013. He was one of the 13 members selected to disappear. And what ended up happening is that he ended up tripping in the back. So he ended up tripping in the back platform, or somewhere in the back. He says that he tripped on some sort of construction site, and he injured his brain permanently, right? That's what he claims. And the whole lawsuit seems to be a little bit of a just a shit show, to be honest, because there's a lot going on. You have this courtroom video of Chris Kenner, who's a very famous magician, but David Copperfield's right hand man here, and it's just fairly interesting to see the whole thing. Let me see if they show. I know they show the trick here, but they also show different things in the courtroom. Of course, I looked up the proprietor of Magic online, the Magic Cafe, Ringmaster himself, Mark Broody, here talking about this whole situation on David Copperfield and what's happening with him. Let me see if I could find a video of the actual, just the highlights of the lawsuit. I know I put this up beforehand, but for some reason I think I exited out. So let me put this on volume here. Sorry, I know that kind of was fun. I love ads. Thank you, ads. You guys really do a great job here. Okay, so we gotta wait for this ad to finish. Astonishing. So yeah, so they're really pretty much going through what's going on in this lawsuit, and it's just fairly interesting to see the whole shit show of what's happening, because pretty much this has been a trick that Copperfield has done for years and years on end, and there really haven't been any incidents. Here's the actual thing. Let's go here, turn the volume on.
A lawsuit by a man who says he was seriously injured.
He really hasn't aged well.
5 years ago. Copperfield's testimony would come after the jury learned the secret behind Copperfield's Lucky 13 illusion, in which a group of audience members all disappear at once. British tourist Gavin Cox says he fell during the vanishing act, and the injuries from that fall have cost him hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That's insane. So yeah, so I'm trying not to be biased here, but it seems like, you know, this person was the only person out of what's claimed to be 55,000 people that have participated in this trick to be injured, and he says that it's causing $100,000 or more, sorry, several $100,000 in fees, medical fees, due to him having a broken arm. And he is in fact revealing the trick. He did in fact reveal how it's done on in the courtroom. Let's see if we could go over this here. There is actually, let's go here, Copperfield lawsuit. Let me see if I could find a little bit of a summarized video of what's happening. Reveals illusion under oath. I think this one is a good one. Yeah, it's on Firefox. I know Firefox is the one that works the best with OBS, which is why I'm using it. I would definitely use Chrome.
Taking a stand, forced to publicly
13 people disappear on stage and
all right, let's just get to it.
Magician forced in a courtroom to pull back the curtain on one of his most famous tricks. David Copperfield was grilled in a courtroom about what happened the night an audience member, Gavin Cox, was injured while participating in one of his illusions.
You're not responsible to him. Yes or no?
I don't think we're responsible.
Did you know that Mr. Cox was injured during your illusion?
No.
Cox says he was part of the vanishing crowd illusion, where 13 members disappear from a cage suspended above the stage, then magically reappear at the back of the audience. Cox says he was rushed off the stage and slipped and fell into a dark construction zone, causing permanent brain damage. Copperfield's team was forced to reveal that instead of actually disappearing, the people are actually rushed to a different location.
By the way, the comments on these videos are astonishing. The comments really lead me to think that there's no hope for any sort of that humans are just retarded. That's what these comments lead me to think. There's some comments about like magicians and stuff, and how there was one guy that said, "Lol, haha, David Copperfield shown not to be a real magician. This is why we have Dynamo and GIF." So they're real magicians, and I was just reading a number of comments that had that sentiment, and I was like, there's no fucking hope for society. But what ended up happening is that this guy got injured, and Dan Pizza, you said there are several others coming out that they were injured on different occasions. However, who knows the validity of those claims? Yeah, true, right? Which is kind of the issue here, because suddenly now that this guy's going to make some cheese out of it, that's when a lot of people are going to come forward and say, oh yeah, I was injured as well. So, you know, you can never trust those. But yeah, so pretty much it's fairly simple. They're just ushered out as the curtains go up, and then they make their way around the building and they make their way to the back of the audience. So it's not really a hard thing. So here we have a guy, 5,000 posts, so you know that this guy's credible on the Magic Cafe. Here he says, I was once selected to go on stage for this illusion. This was around 06, not in Vegas, so that's kind of discouraging. I went to the aisle. Do you know anyone who works for Copperfield's show? Yada yada yada. David grabs my arm and puts me to the side. Step over here, sir. This other guy and I sat on bar stools. As soon as the curtain closed and the platform went up, Holborn walked behind us. This is what seemed to be just 10 to 15 seconds. We could see shadows. The curtain dropped. The platform was emptied. So, okay, so this guy was just used as a magician here. Kind of interesting, I guess. But yeah, different scenarios and different stories, I guess, are coming out from people in this wonderful forum here. But the case in point, the trial pretty much required Copperfield to be on this fucking courtroom telling everybody how this his closer, his fucking closer, one of his closers for his you know, multi-million-dollar show is done, which I just find hysterical. I mean, not in the sense of like, wow, this is funny, wow, good, fuck Copperfield, not in that sense, but just the whole thing's a shit show. Like, this guy tripped and fell, he's suing Copperfield, and then his lawyers kind of like, you know, badgering Copperfield as if he's committed the worst crime. The guy tripped. The guy fucking tripped. Like, there isn't, you know, he's done a trick for tens of thousands of people. And the incidents, you know, how, even if there are incidents that have come out, they've been in the minority. So this one guy trips and suddenly the whole thing is called into question. So it's kind of an interesting situation with this whole thing. There's talking about this other allegations. Let's see some other stuff here. Let's see. I hope this man's being honest. Oh, this is the other trial. Okay. But yeah, but apparently the guy tripped and the guy had this whole thing. Let me see if they have the actual stream here, because I do want to hear Chris Kenner's take on it. I know that Chris Kenner came out and pretty much, there you go, this part. Chris Kenner had to explain to the idiot lawyer how follow the leader works. I want to see that video. I want to find Chris Kenner explaining to the fucking guy, to the lawyer. Yeah, so one person's supposed to follow the person in front of him. That's the way this works. I really want to see that part, because you know, these court cases, pretty much you have to do something that's known as operationally defined things, right? This comes from well, at least my understanding of this is from psychology, where operational definitions involve you having to define each and every single individual aspect of it to make sure that everything is crystal clear. And in this case, in the court, it's fucking even worse, because you pretty much have to operationally define everything. You know, define what you mean by follow the leader. Define what you mean by the participants were moved away from the platform. Like, every single little minutia has to be explained, because that could, you know, have an effect on the overall thing and the overall, you know, deliberation. So that's just something I find interesting. Piggy, I'm late. Put the links, please. I mean, the links are just this. David Copperfield talking about him explaining the trick. To go back in time. Oh, thank you, Satchel, for having an attempt to be Piggy Showbot XXX. But yeah, according to Cox says that he pretty much was pushed through a platform, and he was pushed through a very dark alleyway and a dark corridor, pretty much a dark construction site, and from there he was hurried on, and that's where he tripped. And he described the situation as chaos and chaotic. So that's where the whole allegations come out about Copperfield injuring the participant. And it's fairly interesting. It's a fairly interesting scenario. Let me see this one. I think the comments, I'm trying to find one where the comments were just ridiculous. Let me see. I'm trying to find the video here. There were just some ridiculous comments in this. It might be in this one. Let's see. Global News.
New low tracking litter design.
God damn it. All these ads. Let's see. Some stuff here. This lawyer is an idiot. David needs insurance. We have a palapinga. I agree. That's the issue. You don't, I mean, most likely than not, Copperfield's gonna have to take this trick out of his act, and this was one of his one of the more popular tricks. You know, imagine you are getting 13 people from the audience, you're making them disappear, and they appear, you know, behind the audience. That's kind of a fairly strong and powerful trick. So let's see, I'm trying to find the comments here. Right, yeah, I would have thought that this thing would have gone to the fact that it reached court. I thought that it would have been settled out of court. You know, I really thought that it would have been settled out of court and they would have figured it out. He would have just given him a paycheck and been like, yeah, get the fuck out. But this guy's pretty much claiming that he experienced brain trauma due to negligence, pretty much. He had to reveal it and he's already retired it. Insane. Fucking insane. Right now I'm just trying to find these comments here. Let's see. I really hope I could find the ones that I was reading them. It's Copperfield's fault. They should pay to lose the victim. It's odd. I've never heard of Copperfield till now. This guy's fucking been living under a goddamn rock. They have to put out his medical costs. Let's see. This guy's obviously fucking retarded. This guy's dumb. So the guy's suing 3 different entities. He's not only suing Copperfield, he's suing the construction company from behind the stage, and he's also suing, I think, MGM Grand. So that's all that's happening. I'm trying to find, dude, there were a bunch of comments. I don't know if it was one video that I saw of a bunch of comments. Let's see. John Doe, you're tearing me apart, jury. That's funny. On stage, and yeah, I think that's a look that he's trying to portray. Obviously Copperfield wants to be he wants to have a little bit of an empathetic sort of he wants to have empathy from the jury, so obviously he's gonna look shy and awkward.
World famous
okay, is it this one? God damn it, dude. Cage box, yada yada yada. I guess magic for those, entertainment. Yeah, that's 9 years of age. I'm surprised such shows still exist. Oh, this guy's a genius. This guy's an absolute genius. Yeah, no, I agree, Dan. I think that kind of sets the precedent for if, you know, you settle out of court, then they're like, oh shit, you know, hey, I accidentally stubbed my toe while I was being ushered behind the secret platform. So yeah, I deserve some shut up money too. So wait, this guy kills me right here. It says, I guess magic for those of people who like this type of entertaining is working out how the trick is done. This one's obvious unless one is under 9 years old. I'm surprised that such shows still exist. Perhaps not people are switched on. Damn, this guy's switched on. Or people don't mind partying with good money to be brain numbed for an hour or two. Yeah, this guy's actually, this guy should be sued for let's see what dumb finance is. Okay. So yeah, so we got some hot comments here. The thief, Satan comes out. Magic is not of God, it's of Satan. And here we have somebody with the heated arguments already coming out. But yeah, there were some other ones that I saw here that were straight up great. So yeah, what do you guys think about this whole thing, man? I found the whole thing to be the whole situation to be ridiculous. Let's see, right over here, I think we have some hot updates on this whole situation. Being in court is uncomfortable. Nobody should relish the idea. I agree. The whole thing is costing David dearly. I stand corrected. Yeah, you have some people arguing and how this is bad against Magic and stuff. You know, I think it's bad against Copperfield, but Magic as a whole, I don't think is gonna get harmed for this. Shit. Let's see anything else here. Let's actually see the first page. See what these lovely bunch of geniuses have to say. Oh, there you go, Dan. This is kind of this sentiment repeated by this guy saying, setting the precedent. If you sue and if you settle, then other people are gonna kind of repeat that sort of behavior. But I'm not sure what's gonna happen here. I really don't. I don't know if the judge is gonna side with the plaintiff in this particular case. I don't know if they're gonna fuck Copperfield. I know Copperfield's gonna end up having to bust out a lot of money just to kind of wish this away. But it's just kind of interesting to see, you know, Chris Kenner on stage on pretty much in this courtroom explaining little intricate details about fucking things. The spectator may have had an undiagnosed trauma. Yeah, I mean, that's always a possibility. Also, you know, they're saying that some people are saying that Copperfield asks healthy individuals to come up on stage. So healthy people come up on stage, not people who are in any sort of, you know, states of not being able-bodied to be able to walk around here. Let me see. Lucky 13. Lucky 13. David Copperfield. Let's check this out. Let's see if it's hello. Thank you. Finally revealed. Of course, we have a bunch of people trying to squeeze it. Fernando P1. God damn it. This guy just killing it. I think let's check this out. This one has a quite substantial amount of people. Even though it's revealed, his delivery is a big part of it. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. All right, here, 30. He asked for people who are 18 and in good health. So that's kind of one of the. I mean, I know that doesn't, you know, defer against any sort of negligence on his part, but from all, you know, from all indicators here, everything kind of went smoothly apart from that guy. Let's see. So how did he get Stooges? I love people like this that are like, dude, okay, well, this guy asked 6 years before. I thought this guy was asking now. I'm like, dude, it's literally everywhere. So how did he do this? It's literally everywhere, dude. Let's see. Could have Stooges, so this guy's trying to figure this shit out. Funny enough. Oh, this guy's the guy that killed me right here. This guy murdered my ass. He goes, Lamau, we all know what happened. Copperfield's not a real magician. Rolling on the floor. I think he wants to be one. That's why I like hardcore magicians. Like Dynamo, Jif, and Serial. Fernando P1, he's a beast. I disagree. I disagree with him being a beast. I think he's kind of a weirdo. I mean, I'm more, you know, I wish I had more information, but I'm only privy to the information that's been released, so I really don't know much more than everything. I kind of just wanted to give a little bit of my take on it, but I'm with Copperfield more so than the other guy here. I feel like, you know, obviously if there was something that happened, it's a freak accident, but to blame somebody like Copperfield, I mean, you took the thing, you went up on stage, you know, and you tripped. It's not like that's part of it. It's not like, you know, they fucking said, hey, or somebody pushed you. You fucking tripped out of your own. And even in this video where he says, you know, you're 18 and able-bodied, I think. Let's see if when he says it. Where is it? 30.
So, if you're 18 years or over and in good health, stand up right now. Everybody, 18 years or over and in good health, stand up.
18 years and over and good health. So, you know, this guy stood up. This guy said, hey, you know, I want to be a part of this. So the fact that he tripped, I just think it was a freak accident. Nothing to kind of take it to the court for. When Copperfield made the statue literally disappear, it appeared on my foot and broke my toes. Yeah, you should sue him, make some money out of it. There is no written consent. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But I mean, for all intents and purposes, if you were to put yourself, you'd have to do the same to try and get your medical bills paid and a shotgun blast of lawsuits to try to get something. If you put yourself in those shoes, I mean, yeah, that is another thing. If you do kind of see it from his perspective, medical fees are never cheap. And, you know, even if you dislocate their arm, you'll have to pay $5 grand just for a doctor to look at you. You know, just for a doctor to be in the same room at you as you, you're pretty much paying a fucking boatload of money. So from the other guys, what do you call this? You know, viewpoint, yeah, I guess, but you know, still, it's kind of crazy how this whole thing has kind of spun to this situation where now he's on freaking, like, pretty much every major news publication talking about Copperfield and his trick and his closer. So I just see it as a whole shit show. So there are multiple sides to this. I don't know. I just tend to lean a little bit more with Copperfield on this, just because, you know, just from what I've seen. I was watching a pig coat and fell into a manhole. Yeah, you should definitely sue me for the dozens and dozens of dollars that I possess. But no, you're right, Dan. It is perspective. Perspective is kind of about everything. Well, he's Magic. He's not just blaming Copperfield. He's actually suing 3 different entities, I guess. Copperfield is one, MGM Grand is the other, and the construction company in the back that he claims he tripped on their construction. You know, their stuff. He's claiming that they're part and just as liable as anybody else. So, you know, it's kind of shit, but the whole situation is just kind of interesting to see, I guess, from different perspectives. You see it from magicians, you see it from just people that are interested in seeing and knowing how Copperfield did his fucking trick. So yeah, that's kind of my thing on it. But yeah, perspective is kind of an interesting thing, and I can't imagine that this isn't gonna be, you know, in the hundreds of thousands of dollars to kind of quell. So I could definitely imagine this being a case where let's see, hold up. I was in an accident in which during the last stream, the dude hit my car with his bike, and I had to take him to the hospital, which cost me $900. Holy shit. I mean, what happens with insurance in that case? Oh, but don't you live in the Philippines? Isn't that like a completely different thing? It's like a different system over there. This is just a lot right now. This is definitely a very interesting situation. Oh shit, okay. Why can't he just accept that he tripped? Well, yeah, personal responsibility is definitely one of the issues here. You know, the guy tripped. I feel Copperfield, but it's shitty all around. Really, the only ones benefit. Yeah, the attorneys are definitely the ones that win, because even the prosecutor and the plaintiff, they're all making a sweet payday. But you know, you can't help but feel bad for the guy that tripped. But at the same time, you know, this trick has been done a multitude of times, and nothing went wrong. You know, nothing major that was publicized went wrong. This guy trips, and you know, is trying to squeeze as much out of the situation as possible. But you know, you can understand it if you're in his perspective. But I mean, yeah, the only real winners here is the attorneys. That's it. That is really the overall winner of anything. Any sort of legal incident is the attorney. That's the guy that's always winning. Oh, Malaysia, sorry. The dude didn't have insurance, and I live in fucking Malaysia. Get your shit together. That's a really weird situation, man. Depends on how he tripped. No, you're right. Yeah, it really depends on how he tripped. Because if he tripped on something that was negligence on Copperfield's part, but they can't really prove them, you know, they really can't prove that. And I don't think I've seen any sort of pictures. I've only seen maybe a couple videos as to the backstage area about it. But, you know, let's take a look at this, see if there's any more information here. Told Cox simply missed the step when he fell. He explained that the site where the accident happened, about 22 feet before the door to re-enter the theater, is essentially level with a 1-degree drop. Popovich said that 10 minutes before Cox went down, Copperfield had walked through the same area as part of another illusion that did not involve audience participation. He said Copperfield would have notified the staff had there been any problem in the route, right? Cox was taken to the hospital for dislocated shoulder, which for some reason turned into brain damage, right? Cox said he suffered chronic pain, and a scan showed a lesion in his brain. Cox, in his lawsuit, said that he spent more than $400,000 in medical care. He's suing Copperfield, MGM Grand, and the construction crew. Copperfield worth $61 million. I imagine one of the reasons this lawsuit is taking place. Let's see. But the judge sided with the plaintiff's team, which said the mechanics behind this popular illusion are already known to the thousands of participants who have participated. The squeeze. Yeah, you're right. The squeezing money out of you. But I mean, this is just kind of statistical, right? It's definitely a game of statistics here, because here, you know, according to Copperfield, he's done this trick to over 55,000 people, right? So, you know, even if 2 people have accidents throughout that number, 2 out of 55,000, that's an insane, like an insanely small margin of people to have been affected. And yeah, you know, obviously those people are individuals and they're entitled to their own, you know, issues, and if something really bad happens to them, of course, you know, they deserve to be treated the same as anyone else. But it's just insane the level of the margin of error here has been really, really small. So the fact that this one thing happened to this one guy, but it's funny that the minority here is the vocal majority, right? So even though you have 55,000 people, and let's assume that 10 of those people have had, you know, accidents, one of them including this guy, that's kind of nuts to me. You know, the margin of error here is very, very small. And, you know, the fact that thousands of people have had this trick for them. So, you know, we really don't know the situation. We really don't know the context, you know. So whether or not he tripped on something that was negligent on their end, but, you know, kind of crazy. So yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on this? What are your guys' thoughts on this? Do you guys think that it's justified? Do you think that this guy's court case? I mean, Dan brought up a great point here, talking about the idea of perspective. If you were in this guy's shoes and you tripped backstage on something, you know, you definitely would probably do some sort of, you know, you try to get some sort of money back to try to remediate this whole situation. But at the same time, you know, when more details come out, that's when we'll kind of have more of an indicator as to what's happening. Didn't understand anything from the performance. Loved it. Okay, that's kind of odd. So yeah, thousands and thousands. Thousands with a D, my favorite sort of way of saying thousands. I also like saying the word 30 with a D. So dirty dollars. Negotiating for a settlement without anyone else getting the squeeze. Yeah, but I imagine Thomas, he was performing a trick called Lucky 13, where he gets 13 members of the audience, and they're put up on a platform on stage, and then they subsequently disappear. This is ongoing, by the way. And they subsequently disappear, and they appear behind the audience. That's the trick. And what happened is that during the course of the trick, where the people were snuck out of the platform, according to this guy, 22 feet before the door to re-enter the theater, this guy tripped, right? So I think it was construction dust, which is actually really difficult to see before you slip in it. That could be a possibility. I mean, it could be any sort of number of things, but, you know, the fact that I find the whole thing humorous that Chris Kenner has to be on stage explaining, or not on stage, on a courtroom explaining all these mundane things. Stefan, it's hard. I imagine in that situation it's very, very hard in the time frame that he has to get written consent to anyone, you know, on the stage. I guess that they're able to argue some sort of thing on implied consent maybe, but there's no time for written consent and every person to sign a waiver, you know. But yeah, it's kind of nuts to see where this is going. Let me try to find a little bit of a different one here. So yeah, it seems pretty straightforward of a trick.
If you're a lawyer, sit down.
Aha.
If you've had too much to drink, sit down.
That's funny.
If you are the masked magician, kiss my ass.
Nice. Nice. That's fucking great. That's great. Yeah, I've always loved Copperfield as a performer. He's always been amazing. Did he sign? Yeah, that's what I was just referring to, Martin. It's kind of difficult. It's kind of difficult to get a waiver in this sort of thing, or to sign a release to be included in the trick in the time frame that you. Because imagine you throw the balls in the audience, the people are ushered up on stage. They're put in a platform, and then the platform, you know, they're ushered away from the platform secretly. There's no time to sign a release, you know, in the time frame that needs to take place for the actual effect to happen. So I imagine that that's a legal risk, but then again, we're going into the territory of consent. We're going to the territory of you know, agreements and stuff, and that gets a little bit more complicated. But this guy's just trying to argue or not that it was negligence on the part of MGM, Copperfield, and the construction company for him to have tripped in the back while he was chaotically driven to this thing. So then in that case, everyone who pays a ticket for his, you need to be more careful. Yeah, definitely. You know, and Copperfield does take some rudimentary precautions here. He does ask people to be 18 and in good health, right? And people stand up. So
there are rules.
I should start a piggy podcast. I'm probably going to do a piggy podcast, but I am going to do one in the other channel. If you guys aren't familiar with my brand new channel, Pig Cake Plus, definitely look it up in the description. Not in the description. I haven't put it here. I'm not that intelligent. Look it up in my channel. You should see Pig Cake Plus. I already put up a video there, a pig alert, but if I do a podcast, it's going to be on that. Because I feel like a podcast, if I generalize it to just magic, then it's going to be fairly limited. But I want to have a more broad podcast. So when I reach 1,000 subs on that channel, I'll do a podcast. 1,000%. I'm really excited for where that channel is going to go. I'm really, really excited. I already have some stuff in the back end. I filmed something today, just a little bit of a dumb meme video, but you know, fun stuff. I really like the openness of that channel, so I hope that channel kind of takes off. But yeah, this whole thing is kind of indicative of the whole situation. Copperfield's team is trying to prove that this guy had an accident on his own and they're not responsible for it. This guy's trying to prove that it was negligence on their end. Really the only way to do this, yeah, you're right, is to kind of have some sort of thing on the ticket, you know. And maybe you already do. I haven't really read the terms of agreement when it comes to the tickets, right? I don't know if, for example, if you have some sort of consent that you give up and you release when you get the ticket. I know that obviously you have to, when you get the ticket, you have to agree that you're not going to bring any sort of film to it. Maybe there's already a clause in there that you can't harm, or you can't sue Copperfield because of any sort of harm that takes place in the show or some shit. It's up to you. So the spectator was also at least partially at fault. He ignored conditions. Yeah, there you go. So that's kind of what Copperfield's trying to prove at this point. But I just really want to see the whole thing of what ends up happening. Is Pig Cake Plus channel the thing that you always wanted to do, like putting content without thought and having fun? Yeah, that's exactly it. It gives me a little bit more of creative openness to not have to worry about censorship, not have to worry about demonetization, not have to worry about all these things. And even if I don't have, you know, a lot of views, it's a creative outlet for me. So it's Pig Cake Plus anything. So Pig Cake Plus, you know, games, Pig Cake Plus tech, Pig Cake Plus memes, Pig Cake Plus anything. So that's kind of what I'm gonna have a lot of fun with in that channel. So yeah, boy. Yeah, some agreements. Yeah, you're right, Martin. I really have to read it. I know that when because when I went to Vegas not a little while ago, you know, fucking years ago at this point, I went to see Penn and Teller. Oh fuck, man, what a great show. I took a picture of both of them. I took that video. There's a video in the 4th episode that I did called I think Your Second Trick or something like that. And I went to Vegas and I took video of Penn saying that's bullshit that I used on it. So that's when I you know, had an opportunity to meet them, which was just great. You know, meet them in passing. Hey, you know, I love your stuff. You guys are heroes. And they go, oh, thank you. You know, fucking great. So that whole thing. But it was still a good moment for me. You know, when you get the ticket to the show, there's a fucking laundry list of terms of service that you have to say yes to that you never fucking read. You know, there's a laundry list, and God knows what's in that terms of service. So, you know, you could be pretty much agreeing to blow Penn after the show, and you're like, yeah, gladly, I'll blow Penn. I'll suck his dick. It's probably big, but, you know, so that's kind of the interesting predicament when you go to these shows. You know, it really depends on that, but it's going to be harder to go into a Copperfield show. Or he's just going to pull a trick out, you know, which is kind of a shame because it is a very, very beautiful trick. You know, imagine to the audience, you pick out 13 people and those 13 people go up on stage. That could have easily been you. You know, the balls kind of dismiss that notion of, oh, they're gimmicked, they're people that were in on it. So, you know, you're on stage, these people disappear. That could have easily been you. And I think there's a certain magical element to that if you're in the audience, you know, you have that mentality, oh shit, that could have been me. Not necessarily. He's done tricks where volunteers are chosen before the show. Yeah, but this one, I feel like the point of this trick is the openness of the procedure. So the procedure is that he's getting these balls, he does some banter, he throws them up on into the audience, and then the audience members are picked in that sense. And I think that there's a certain openness in that really kind of you could replicate with other tricks, but I guess it would be a little bit hard to establish. You can make fun You could on the next live stream, I'm sure. If you're up there, I'll probably end up looking through other people's stuff. It'll make the show more exciting. The most dangerous magic show. Well, you know, I was watching this documentary on Netflix about haunts, right? If you guys are familiar with haunts, yo, my fucking head, I just got dizzy as hell. I need to eat. There are haunts, right? Haunts documentary. If you guys are not familiar with haunts, haunts are pretty much haunted houses, right? And this documentary pretty much goes over, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's this one. It goes over several haunts in the United States. Yeah, I think it's this one. So it goes over you know, people that pretty much make a living through I love you, Hermano Simplex 1. Hey, boy. I'm glad you like my stuff, man. I'm talking about Copperfield and shit, Simplex. So that's what's going on. So, this documentary is talking about haunts and stuff. And there are certain, you know, you go to Halloween Horror Nights and stuff like that. And you have people jumping on you and scaring you. But they don't touch you. You know, they don't, they can't touch you for legal reasons. Then you have these haunts. These haunted houses like Blackout. You know, Blackout is a very popular one in New York, where you pretty much sign away that you could allow these guys to do whatever they want to you. So you end up having, you know, people put bags over your head and make out with you. You have people rubbing up on you, fucking naked and shit, and you've signed to this. You know, you've consented your pretty much your free will away to these people. Now the problem is, well, not the problem, but the issue is that you have people that you have haunted houses like Blackout that have safety words, right? So, you know, you say safety and then everyone stops and they usher you away, and that's the end of the house. There is one that's highlighted in this documentary of a haunted house that does not have a safety word. So you sign away your free will, and pretty much you have to allow these people to do whatever it is they want to you for hours on end. So it's fucking terrifying, and you sign a contract that there isn't anything that you could do. I think the wife is a lawyer, so she had a ironclad contract put up about this whole thing, right? And it's insane. This is a crazy documentary, and the worst part is that this house, the house that doesn't have any sort of safety word, it has a waiting list of people that are waiting to get on it. You don't have to pay any money. All you have to do is give a couple cans of dog food, and they'll put you through the haunt. They'll put you on the waiting list. They'll interview you, and if they determine that you're right for it, you'll sign a contract, and you are fucked, because these people are going to mess with you for a solid 4 hours. There are people that come out of this traumatized, and you know, obviously there's nothing that they could do legally. And if you look at the documentary, man, the things they do to these people are absolutely disgusting. They're rubbing dog shit on your face. They are, you know, putting urine on you. They're just putting toilet. It's insane. And you signed away. You signed away to this. It's not Blackout. I think it's this one. Haunted Hate. No, it's not this one. I'm trying to, whichever one is the crazy one. I'm trying to find a name. So yeah, so these people don't have a legal recourse for whatever it's done to them. So I imagine here it's different. For Copperfield, it's different on a stage show. But, you know, it's kind of crazy to see what you're able to give away by just signing a little document. You know, what rights you're able to give away by just having your name on a little thing that says, yeah, you agreed to this. So, you know, look what's happening with Facebook. Facebook got absolutely fucked because the terms of service pretty much say, hey guys, you give up anything that you put inside of our platform to us. So there are limits. Yeah, for sure. I recommend watching the documentary. It's definitely an interesting one. There are limits. You know, I've always found the concept of haunted houses interesting because it's you're pretty much consenting to get the shit scared out of you, but there are certain limits, man. Blackout is one that's stupid, insane to me. This other one, let me look up dog food haunted house. Let me look this up. This one's called McCamey Manor. God, this is just dude, sign in to consent to confirm your age. That's how fucking bad it is. So this is a top 10 list. That's not what I wanted. Inside America's most. All right, let's take a look at this. Yeah, warning. This is the crazy guy behind it.
I'm just rough.
I'm gonna put this silent so I don't get fucking sued. But look at this is a guy that was put through it. These are people that are put through it, and then this guy puts a camera on your face. Look at that, dude. You see that? They put you in dog shit. They're recording you. They have a camera in your face. You know, it's stupid. It's really stupid, this whole thing. And this guy kind of prides himself on having the most dangerous fucking hunt. It's an 8-hour tour, man. Come on, dude. And the worst part is he funds it himself. This guy funds it entirely himself. So he doesn't pay for anything. I mean, he pays for absolutely everything. He doesn't you know, charge money for it. He only charges dog food for it, and pretty much that's what happens. That's all it takes for this. So it's kind of ridiculous. This is in a haunted house. Haunted houses barely touch. You're shoving, ripping off their teeth with pliers, cutting their hair, making them vomit. Yeah, it's ridiculous. You're pretty much getting tortured for 8 hours. Man, insane to me. Really, really insane to me. Inalienable rights. Yeah, you're talking about, obviously you can't give up your constitutional rights, but this is on that like frontier, on the fringe, I guess, of your rights. So, you know, they haven't gotten sued. So I imagine the thing they signed is I wouldn't say ironclad, but, you know, pretty significant, because they donate the dog food to dog charities. So they take whatever dog food they get and they donate that to charities. You know, as if that's some sort of redeemer. I was once in a stupid camp where they take random students to the woods at midnight and they make you walk the forest alone. And there are some random jump scares. God damn it. Yeah, I would not like to participate in that. Yeah, we're going to take you to a forest and scare the shit out of you. How about no? How about no? Watching your own stream, yeah, right? So yeah, so this whole case is fairly interesting. This is just something that I kind of want to talk about. Maybe I might have more live streams like this where I talk about certain happenings in the Magic community, certain things like this. This was a very interesting thing because it's kind of unique. You know, it's very, very unique in terms of what's going on and what has to be revealed in court, and you know what like. I can't think of another court case like this. I know that Teller from Penn and Teller had one with Shadows, that trick that he put in his show. So there's a bunch of stuff happening with that, and it's just fairly interesting to see the direction of this particular lawsuit. Hopefully we get more updates. I know Copperfield had a lawsuit, you know, not a lawsuit, but he had allegations come out about him of the sexual nature. So those, I'm sure, are going to might affect, you know, it at a personal level. Obviously not within the court, but we'll see what happens with this. I might have some hot updates on that. They said, hey, congrats, you get to watch, and it's pitch dark, and if you don't, we blacklist you. Oh, so it's more blackmail. It's more blackmail than anything. That's fucking great. That's always good when you're blackmailed into doing something that you don't, or you wouldn't otherwise do. Let's see a little bit more of these comments. Let's see. If it's an okay, alright, yada yada yada. I love these comments right here. Right? Hold up, there was something here. I have a friend whose wife was a bigger magician than Copperfield. Is that a joke? You have a friend whose wife is a bigger magician than Copperfield. Who is a bigger magician than Copperfield? Everyone knows fucking Copperfield. Like, what? That has to be some sort of troll. Maybe this will be the beginning of magicians getting specific rights, intellectual property. I don't think so. I don't think so at all, because this isn't an issue of the secret of the trick. You know, this is more of what happens throughout the course of the whole trick having an effect on somebody's health. So, you know, whereas if it was like somebody talking about, you know, or somebody copying the method, then yeah, it might be an issue of intellectual property, but I don't think this is the case with this particular trick. So, you know, if anything, that lawsuit with Teller, that would have been a good intro to this whole discussion of intellectual property on magicians. But as far as it stands, I'm not sure, man. I don't think that there's anything that could be done at this point for this that's not going to end up in somebody spending a shit ton of money. Semantics don't scare me. Hello, Salt, my man. Still can't work out what the secret is. Fake. Of course it's fucking fake. God damn. You have some dumbass people here that are saying it's black magic. Man, I am saddened by the comments. Let's see what Fernando P1 has to say about this.
Hello everyone, how you all doing? My name is Fernando.
I've never seen his face.
People quite often ask me, a nice grip, when you put it on your hand.
13 effect. Oh, we have some piggy regulars here. Yeah, man, that's kind of an issue. I don't know where this is gonna go. Do you recommend any TV show? What do you mean? Like magic related or just in general? Because I really don't watch a lot of TV. I mostly just watch YouTube. That's kind of my thing, right? People are dumb. Fernando's cool. I don't know. From what I've seen, I'm not necessarily a huge fan. Maybe I need to see more of him. But from what I've seen, I'm not necessarily a huge fan. But, you know, that might be limited experience. So I need to maybe check out more of his shit. But, you know, from the things that I have seen, I'm like, not in this specific case, but it's getting to revealing the method of whether or not magicians should be legally obligated to reveal or not. Yeah, maybe, I guess. You know, it's kind of this is just such a unique case where somebody pretty much is forced to reveal stuff for the sake of letting the jury and, you know, pretty much everybody know whether or not he was at fault for this person's injury. But it's not going to end with a lot of it's definitely going to end with a lot of money being thrown someone's way, whether or not that's a lawyer or this guy. I need to buy an original version of a trick or rip-off. I don't know. It depends. I mean, I don't think I'd ever buy a rip-off unless it's a meme. And I wouldn't buy the original version unless it's worth it. So, you know, if it's something that's worth it, then it's worth it. If it's something that's not, you know, all these things that I bought from Wish.com are pretty shit. So I've only bought a couple things from these knockoff Asian websites that were worth it, you know, in my experience. So usually the original is made better. Depends. My daddy is a bigger magician than Copperfield. His name is Pig Cake. Yeah, Pig Cake definitely bigger than Copperfield. 1000%. The trick that nearly killed the masked magician. What the fuck? What is that, dude? This is just, I can't play this without getting lawsuited. But he apparently sells his mouth shut for Priyanka Chopra, who's really hot. Oh, fuck this guy, dude. Oh, fuck. No blood. Ugh. What's he end up doing? Regurgitating the card? Hey, Questlove's in the house. Oh, he does a frog? Ha! This guy. Everyone loses their fucking mind, dude. Everyone loses their goddamn mind. Insane. David Blaine is a madman. This guy is a fucking madman, dude. Delights, is that what you're talking about? I bought some from Barnes & Nobles that were overpriced. Definitely not the original. But I did get some. I mean, they just depend on the battery life. Spitting out frogs. This is the other one that I saw with Drake and Steph Curry. Nuts. I really want to know the secret to it. Probably make my own. Blaine calls them tricks. We call it self-mutilation. I mean, yeah, the guy gets pretty much a needle, sews his mouth shut for God knows what reason, and then shits out frogs out of his mouth. So, come on. Come on, Blaine. So that's the Copperfield thing. Let me see this. Anything else here? Copperfield Lawsuit. Yeah, that's that. Man, what a fucking crazy, what a crazy time we live in. However, I have to say, I'm happy to live in the same time period that Guy Fieri lives in. I'm happy that I'm living in the same time period as him. So right now, we're living in a crazy time period where all these things are happening. Let me.
In that motion.
I feel like I had to see that.
In that motion.
Why does it cut off? Hold up, let me change that. Let me change. I need to change that. Perfect. Magic, love from India. A boy. Love from the definite US of A. Hold up, let me change this sound. Alert box. Subscriber. Let me change the sound that I get. Change media. Let's see. Cringe comp. Is it this one?
In that motion.
That. In that, it was done.
There you go. That's the one that I need. Select and save. So now if somebody subscribes, they should hear this sound.
That. In that, it was done.
Hey, that's astonishing. Thank you, Brad Christian, for that. I fucking love this. Is the chat coming up here? I don't know if I don't see necessarily the chat coming up on the side here. It's supposed to come up in the oh yeah, it is. Okay. Carter's in his mouth when you cut open. Missed those parts skipping around. Oh. Copperfield, it should be a review of the portion of the trick where this guy injured himself. The passage from stage to back. Hardly anything to do with the illusion. But I mean, the guy was attesting that it was sort of negligence on their end that he got injured. So, you know, Copperfield should have done due diligence for making sure that there isn't anything that could have potentially harmed the people that participated in the trick. So, yo, Pick Kick, you are an awesome guy, man. Thank you for the laughs in your videos. Thank you for laughing at my videos, dude. Oftentimes I wonder, I'm like, oh shit, are people gonna find my videos funny? And I'm glad they do. So I'm glad you enjoyed them, boy. If you want some more laughs, you should check out my brand new channel, Pick Cake Plus. I think that it's for new subscribers. I think that it's for new subscribers. I don't have sponsors yet, which is YouTube, right? So that's the one for sponsors. I don't even know what the fuck the point is, unless they're trying to compete with Twitch. But I do like the fact that you get notifications on this. Still nothing to do with the trick. No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. But I guess it was them. The guy's trying to argue that it was, you know, that it was just negligence. So whether or not you think that was negligent on his end, on that, you know, I just think that it's an unfortunate situation for everybody, him included, because he is getting, you know, a bunch of he does have to pay a bunch of money for pretty much what it comes out to be a dislocated arm, and you know, Copperfield, because his trick that he obviously probably spent millions and millions of dollars optimizing, figuring out how to do it, figuring out the routining, the staging, everything, hundreds and hundreds of man hours on building and constructing, pretty much go to waste and can't be used anymore because of the fact that everybody knows how the trick is done and that the trick carries this stigma, you know, And it kind of does open up to more people kind of, being wary of participating, I guess, even though it's it's another term from psychology. It's another term from psychology called framing effect, right? So if I present something to you that says this has a 1% mortality rate, you're going to be like, fuck that, I'm not going to do that. Has a 1% mortality rate? Because the way that I framed it to you is that it has a 1% mortality rate. Whereas if I say, oh, this has a 99% success rate, you're going to think, oh yeah, of course I'll do it, So the way you say something, the way you frame something is definitely has a major effect on it. So Copperfield, unfortunately, where this is the minority and one person was injured in a high profile way, it's going to kind of add to the framing of the rest of the stuff. So people are going to have this overall assumption of that. So it's kind of insane. I was one of the first dudes up to Piggy, but I was was that because the ad got you? The ad got you there, right? If you like magic and you have a big penis, you should totally check out my channel. Piggy Takumi Takahashi. Yeah, I think he's a good dude. I think he is a really skillful dude. Framing is not, well, framing is one of the aspects of NLP, but it's not from NLP. It's from everything, it could be applied to absolutely everything. Where I learned it is from psych, just from basic terms in psychology and basic studies in that, and how people react to how certain things are framed. So I guess NLP draws on that. My father watched Evan Era looking for a trick to fool me. I wasn't fooled. Yeah, especially if it's a fucking coin to key trick that he does, where you see the hole, you see the key through the hole. So kind of nuts. Let's see the ads on Scam School vids. I didn't put those ads specifically on Scam School. I put them on Magic. So anytime you looked up Magic videos on YouTube, but man, they got really costly. I spent so much money on those stupid ads, and it took so much time for me to learn how to effectivize those ads that I just wasted a lot of money on that, unfortunately. But it did get some eyes on my channel, and I did do something that was unique, so that was kind of fun. But I don't think I'm going to do that anytime soon, even for this new channel, which, by the way, you guys should totally check out if you haven't already. Pig Cake Plus. Let's go check it out. Let's go check out Pig Cake Plus. So I know I saw myself here. Pig Cake. You go here on Bay Channels, right? And we have Pig Cake Plus, where I've already uploaded one video, which is a pig alert. So I'm not necessarily moving pig alert here, but this pig alert is not necessarily magic related. So that's why I put it on this channel, which is kind of exciting. But if you guys haven't checked that out already, you should totally check it out. Let's give a little bit of a hot preview. Have a nice little intro there. I talk about bully hunters, which is a fairly interesting topic. Nintendo Labo, deaf woman getting punched in Publix, which makes sense. We already have some hot comments here. So thank you guys if you guys have already joined me on that channel. So that's something of an interesting endeavor that I want to get on. What else? What did you miss? You missed a conversation about Copperfield and the whole situation around him and him exposing his magic. So that's kind of what you missed. Social psych, theories of personality, and abnormal psych. Those are all interesting classes. I hated abnormal psych. I almost failed that class. I also almost failed industrial organizational psychology. That completely was the worst thing. I got a D in that class. At least in abnormal psych, I squeezed out a C. But the topic from abnormal psych is fairly interesting. Just the way you have to kind of do it, I hated. But framing, I love framing effects because framing really has a huge effect on how people perceive things. So Sever the Man. I actually looked him up. I looked that guy up. The bald dude that looks like Hitman, right? Thank you for being a racist douchebag. I don't know if that's something to be thanked for, right? I don't think that that's something could be thanked for. Can I do video review? I don't want to do that in this stream. I'll probably do it in the next one. But this one I kind of want to talk about about Copperfield and then any other things that come up from Copperfield. So yeah, boy, industrial organizational psychology is a thing. It's very lucrative. You get hired by companies to pretty much feed them bullshit, and they pay you about $130,000 a year starting. The only thing is that you got to be a dick, and you got to pretty much go in there and pretty much have people hate you. That's kind of what is part of it. You can see the quarter through the holes, Evan. It's not a trick if you can see the quarter through the holes. Yeah, that's fun. Piggy on Tumblr? Definitely not. I'm not a Tumblrina by any sort of sentiment, and I don't plan on it anytime soon, even though it is a platform, and I probably could get attention on there. But no, I'm not going to be on Tumblr. Something about its hat. Is there anything here that I missed? Any other YouTube? No, okay, I didn't miss that. So yeah, dude, I am dying. I haven't eaten. I feel like I need to eat a fat amount of food right now. What's your favorite David Copperfield trick? It's the rose. Levitating rose. Beautiful trick. I think I cried first time I saw this, honestly. Levitates rose. I'm typing with one hand and stretched out, which is why I'm typing like a slow motherfucker. But this one right here, such a pretty trick, and he does it with the soundtrack. Let's see if he does it. This soundtrack.
Look okay?
Let's see if he gets it. Oh, killed me. I remember seeing this one of the first times, and I was like, oh, such a beautiful track. But this definitely is by far my favorite Copperfield trick. And it's not even Copperfield, it's Kevin James, right? So pretty. Of course, he picks the hottest bitch to do this for. He picks the hottest female, and then he gives her a rose, and he's like, yo, kiss me, bitch. Smells it. Look at the framing on this. This guy puts it up. You know he laid pipe after this. Boom. Beautiful trick. Damn, son. What an amazing fucking performance. That's probably my favorite Copperfield trick of all time. I bought Anytime and I really liked it, dude. Hey, boy, I hope you like it. I hope you perform the stuff, man. I hope you perform the stuff. It's definitely stuff that I've enjoyed. The Psych Force is one that's fun to do. You really have to just kind of worry about what you say, right? And the other trick is one that I've loved for years on end. Speaking of hypnosis, it's one that is it's great because it does lead itself to giving it a little bit more of a hypnotic sort of premise to it. The Vital Signs. By the way, that trick is named after my favorite album of all time. That trick is named after my favorite album of all time, which is Vital Signs by Survivor. Vital Signs. Survivor. So, interesting tidbit on that trick, or the name of that trick. It comes from this album, which is my favorite album of all time. 1984, Vital Signs. Such hits as I Can't Hold Back, First Night, Popular Girl, I See You in Everyone. Oh, so yeah, so that's from Anytime, the Anytime Project, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. But yeah, what was, wait, it says, hold up, who put the fire to Rose trick? It was Kevin James. This guy, Kevin James. He's the one that, the trick is his trick. Obviously, he doesn't look as hot as Copperfield, and he does it for a little girl, which is cute. Copperfield does it to a girl that he wants to inevitably stick his penis in. It's such a pretty fucking thing. Oh, goodness. Of course, however, I do have a question about the Psych Force. Do you think it works in other languages? Yes, yes. Because it's not what you're saying, it's about the cadence and the concept of what you're saying, if that makes sense. So when you do the Psych Force, you could apply it to any language, but you just keep the structure of the Psych Force, if that makes sense. I don't want to say much more because then that kind of tells you exactly what's going on. But when you're doing that Psych Force, you know, for example, I assume you speak Spanish. In Spanish, it's a little bit more complicated because, Well, the force is for the 5 of clubs, right? So in English, if you're saying, I mean, yeah, you could adapt it to another language, but it is going to take a little bit of figuring out what words work with the best. But it definitely works in other languages. I saw hypnotizing, later forcing a Sharpie marker, and is that maybe... Oh, okay, you guys are talking about a different trick here. But yeah, but this is Kevin James. Cal Laz, man, thank you for sticking around. Thank you for sticking around. That's always great. It's 5 a.m. and I go back to school tomorrow. Damn, son. That's kind of odd. I forget that it's other times in other parts of the world. In America town here, it's 3:44, so... Yeah, boy. Let's see. When should you start performing? I think you should start performing, you know, relatively soon. You know, obviously asking money is a different thing, but, you know, performance experience is something that's infinitely different than practice experience. So when you practice, you know, you kind of are doing it in front of the mirror and you don't get that notion of what to do if something happens in a performance. And a lot of people are afraid of performing because you are leaving yourself open to failure, right? So I think that you should perform more often than you practice, because to me it's almost the same thing. You know, you're practicing the actual practical aspect of it. So ASAP, you should start performing ASAP. You should ask for money once you are good. Once you're good at it, you should start asking for money. I'm bad at English and explaining. Okay, that's kind of odd. Let's see. It says, when where can I learn the psych force? Well, the one that he's talking about is from this project, which, hey, by the way, if you guys are not familiar with my brand new website, pigcake.me, fix it up here, made everything hot, fresh, and ready. He's talking about the psychic force that comes from this particular project. So if you guys want to check out my projects, I have any card at any number. I have persistence of memory. I have the short card project. I have 5-2, and I have any time. He's referring to the psychic. Wow, I just ripped my fucking headphones off. He's referring to the trick in anytime, anywhere. This project, that is a psychic force, a card force. So that's what he's referring to. So yeah, that's enough shilling. How's that for shilling? Let's check out the blog here. I also have a blog post about my first magic trick that I ever saw. So I'm going to be updating that fairly often. If you sign up here, you get a trick. So you see the shilling that I have here on this very nice looking website. I got to say, Squarespace kind of killed it. So there you go. Me talking about the Academy here. Yeah, boy. Any tips? My hands will shake hard as fuck. Well, yeah, that's inevitable, dude. Your hands are always going to shake. But my recommendation is that after your first trick has to be something that you're comfortable doing. And I would even go as far as not even doing a trick. I would go as far as your opener, something that you do. The first thing you do is something that maybe is a joke. Something that's, you know, funny, but that takes the edge off, because once you go past those first 2 to 3 minutes, your hands are going to stop shaking. What payment methods do you have on your site? It should accept most credit cards and PayPal, so that's kind of what it takes. You should be able to put your credit card in there. If you click on whichever one here, it takes you to the website that actually hosts these individual tricks or courses per se. So I don't want to shill it too much, but rave reviews all around. What do you think about this? I don't use mirrors. I pretend that I'm pretty much talking to several. Yeah, that's good. Anticipating problems is a good way of doing it. However, it's definitely not going to be the same as performance experience, because you really can't take into account absolutely everything that's going to happen during a performance. So there you go. You know, you got to take into account different scenarios that happen that you really can't anticipate. So the only way to ever anticipate those is through performance itself. Yeah, boy. Do we have any questions? Because this one I kind of want to stick it to a Copperfield thing. I might be on Twitch later if you guys want to jump on that later, so be on the lookout for that. I'll put a update on Twitter when I'm on Twitch, if I do go to Twitch, just to stream some gameplay if you guys want to ask some hot questions there. But do we have any final last questions here? Any sort of indicators, any sort of topics that we should address before the stream gets ended, such as the origins of let's see, test widgets? Is this the you could
stop at 5 or 6 stores, or
just one. And this is kind of cutting off there. So yeah, so planning on a new product. Yeah, I've had a hard time getting performances for the new project, which is the only thing that I'm pending on. The next project, I already have everything shot, filmed, edited. The only thing that's missing on that next project is 2 performances. And it's kind of shit because I haven't been able to get those on camera. So the moment I get those done, I'm gonna put it out, and it's definitely gonna be a great project in the sense that it's a principle. I show you 3 tricks to the principle, and it's fun. You know, it's a fun thing to have in the back of your head, because there's one thing that goes in your wallet, which is kind of cool. There are 2 other ones that work with a deck, and let me tell you, I'm so proud of the structure of one of those tricks. So proud of that. So yeah, will the Twitch stream be streamed with the Piggy Plus channel? Yeah, I probably will, so be on the lookout for that. Who do you prefer, Copperfield, David Blaine? I prefer David Blaine as a performer. No, sorry, David Copperfield as a performer, but Blaine as a magician. I prefer him. What games do you stream? Old school games, so old N64 games and stuff like that. Minecraft I streamed for a little bit. I'll probably go back to that, but right now I'm making my way through Majora's Mask. So Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, that's what I'm working through. Working my way through, not working through. That's not work. It isn't going to change anything other than magicians make a joke about it when they bring volunteers on stage. Yeah, you're right. Definitely right. Evanera has 5 or 6 stores. Yeah. That's just a meme. Let's see. What lawsuit? I was talking about the Copperfield lawsuit. I'm going to put this video up, so you guys should be able to see it after the fact. Hey, what was your favorite trick to make and develop on my website? Probably, let's go through it. Persistence of memory, by far, is my favorite structure. This one, okay, because these 2 projects are individual tricks, right? They're just 3 individual tricks that don't really have a lot to them. Then this one has a lot of ideas with short cards. I go in depth as to several things you can do with short cards. This is in any card at any number. And then this one is it's a routine. It's a full-fledged routine about memory, taking away memory from the spectator. It's based on a lot of different ideas that I've put together for this cohesive modular routine. And that one I'm really proud of. And I was really apprehensive about putting it out because I was really proud of the structure. The main motivator behind the tricks are, for example, what Tommy Wonder has this trick where he does this beautiful thing where a beeper goes off and then he has to do his hobby. So for this, I took that structure because it's like, oh, I have to warm up. So you want to see a trick, but I have to warm up. And here's my warm up, and I go into the opener of Persistence of Memory. The one that took the longest to make, they've all taken the same amount of time, roughly, which, okay, not the same amount, but it depends on the project. This one took a long time because it has a lot of stuff. This one just took a lot of time just to structure it and make sure that everything came out well. So yeah, I like the structure of this style of teaching. Usually I could have come out with a download, I could have come up with a DVD. This website is very good because it does it in the form of courses, right? So you have pretty much, let's click on one just to give you an example. Hello? You know what I like? I like finding a bug on my website, right? That I click on this and there's no. So let's go to any time. So you could kind of see what I'm talking about, right? So you have just a demo video, you have the tricks, but what I like about it is that it's set as a course, which means that you pretty much sign up and then you have an intro, you have the trick. So each trick has its own little section. It's really meant to be taken like a course, which I really enjoy the structure of this website. That's why I went with it. So this also question and drawing. There's another one that's one of my favorites. Psych Force is fucking great. The out on this could be used as its own trick. Not to shut it too much, but you know, again, I wouldn't put these behind a money. Like, I wouldn't put this behind money if I wasn't happy about them. You get me? Because then imagine somebody clicks on this, they buy it, and they get disappointed, or they don't like it. I don't want that to happen. So I wouldn't ask for money for things like this if it wasn't something that I'm proud of or that I would pay for myself. Like, I would pay for these myself. So Piggy briefly showed Squarespace on his video is the funniest thing I've seen all day. Isn't that funny, right? Well, I think somebody brought it up, so they did the shilling for me in this case, right? They definitely did the shilling for me. But yeah, I want to kind of conglomerate my stuff on one thing, so I feel like going and having an actual structured website is the best way to do that in terms of marketing Old Piggy here. Let's see, anything else here? Were you a pig in another life? I don't know, maybe. Maybe. I love lechon, so that might be one of my indicators here of my love for pigs. Oh yeah, boy. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of heat. But yeah, so that's kind of it. Your ACAN. Okay, so this is I get a lot of questions about this, and let me just I kind of address it here, and then I'll keep this up on the channel. So there are two any cards at any numbers that I teach, right? One is here and one is here. This one, it's a trick in its own, right? So this one, it's an any card at any number that's on its own. It's not linked to this one. This one, it's one that you're doing a lot. You're holding the cards, you know, it's more hands-on. This one is designed to be more hands-off, and they're two different any cards at any number. My favorite any card at any number is in fact a combination of a lot of different things. So my favorite any card at any number is probably the one that I used to have up on the channel. I took it down. That one is good because it's just a way of you know, you could almost have the spectator shuffle the cards, you make an adjustment, and it's a move that's invisible. I had it up on the channel for a long time and I took it out because I liked it so much. This one has to be a close second because it's more hands off, right? So it's definitely more hands off. And this one is more hands-on, so you know, you kind of have to pick your poison for that. What I think about David Blaine sewing his mouth shut, he's fucking insane, dude. The guy's insane. But you know what, he's a performance artist, and he's definitely
in that it was done
a performance. So yeah, we just got a subscription here. That's funny. Yeah, I need to fix that. I'll fix that for sure. Right now, as a matter of fact, let me see if I could fix that on the back end here. Think let me do that, because then guess what, that's one of my favorite projects and I want people to be able to have access to it. Do you have a package? I thought of doing a package for everything. I might do one, just like an overall package for it, but nothing yet. I haven't done anything like that yet. I tried it just to test out the feature to see how it would work, but maybe I might do something where I have like a whole package deal for it. But I just want to have something that's like a body of work that I'm proud of. So I feel like through this I kind of have a little bit of a library of stuff that I'm proud to say I've, you know, had these methods under my tool belt. So let me click on this, let me edit this. So persistence of memory should be able to be clicked on, right? Image link on image. Yeah, I don't understand why it's not save. All right, let's go to Firefox. Let's go to refresh. Check out my Piggy IT work, boy. There you go. Yeah. So there you go. That's heat. So that should work now. But yeah, but it's a little bit of an opportunity for me to kind of give out my stuff. What do I think of Dynamo? I think Dynamo's pretty interesting. He's an interesting character. Not necessarily a huge fan of his work compared to like Blaine and Copperfield and stuff like that. But from what I've seen, he's a fairly interesting dude. So, you know. What's your level of Magic knowledge at? I'm always learning, man. I'm always learning. I'm never satisfied with what I know. So I feel like I'm always learning, and I feel like I always have to, you know, learn more and be able to have a deeper understanding of Magic on history and, you know, of tricks and stuff. So that's always something I'm always doing. So my Magic knowledge is never enough for myself. Do some shilling on short. Well, short is a lot of individual stuff, right? It's a lot of individual things. It's not just one. It's pretty much a bunch of, it's 6 tricks and a bunch of different moves with short cards. So it's 9 different moves and 6 different tricks using short cards. Short cards is something that I feel like somebody should have in every single deck that they make, because it literally takes less than 30 seconds to make, and the tricks that you have are amazing. The opportunity for Magic that you have is insane. You know, you can do some hands-off stuff. This one is great. Dead cutting straight to the card. I teach a little bit of something that I call the it's called the short toss, which is something that I'm fairly happy with, and something that I think is one of the good moves that I've developed with this this particular concept. So, you know, it's just a combination of stuff using short cards. I don't think this project did as well as the other ones, but it's one that I'm definitely happy of and happy with, because the short card is definitely something that not a lot of magicians use. They kind of take it for granted as a method of using key cards. But I think that if you employ that in every single deck that you have, you're really going to have a secret weapon in that. So that's pretty much what I just go over. Let's see. The video always has a delay and the chat does not have the delay, and it's fucking BS. Yeah, I know. That's just a product of YouTube and live streams. So they always have that delay. Thank you for critiquing my performance. Hey man, I am glad that you got something from that. We got YXMay saying, love your vids, man. Hey, love that you love my vids, dog. That's heat. That is heat, boy. Will I play more Minecraft in the future? Yeah, for sure. But I'm probably going to relegate that to my other channel. Probably going to do that. What I'm going to do now is that I'm probably going to go eat, do some editing, film some shit. And then later on today, I should be back on Twitch, streaming some heat. So you guys should join me then if you want some more interesting dialogue and or conversations here. Piggy, what games are you shilling on, coming on Twitch? Well, right now I want to work my way through Majora's Mask, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. The next one that I might play after that is Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo. Then if not, I might want to work on a couple older games for the N64, just because, you know, I love those older games. It does give me a sense of nostalgia. And I don't think people are aware of these games, dude. I don't think people are aware of these games. You know, they've kind of passed on a legend, I guess. Now you have more so a revival in a sense, because you have Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time coming out for the DS and stuff. But I feel like I definitely enjoy those games more so than anything new, you know? Definitely enjoy those games more so. I downloaded Quake the other day. Fuck, that shit is crazy. So yeah, son, that's kind of what I'm doing on Twitch. So I'm playing more old school games and kind of chatting up there. Right now I'm raging through Majora's Mask because I'm trying to get through a certain part and I can't get through it for the life of me. So, you know, Twitch is still it's kind of something that's in development. Obviously, it's kind of interesting to start over. You know, on YouTube I take for granted the audience that I've amassed, and on Twitch it's like zero. You know, I'm starting from scratch. So it's kind of interesting in that sense. Same thing with the new channel. I mean, I'm blessed that I have eyes on the channel already, but it's interesting to start off from nothing, right? Which book is better, Expert at the Card Table or Expert Card Technique? Expert Card Technique, dude, by miles. Expert at the Card Table is a shit book. And I'm not just jumping on that bandwagon because I know that fucking Madison said that and X said that on a live stream. It's true. If you look through the book, it's shit. You know, Expert at the Card Table is garbage. Because just the way you do the moves, just the way that it describes it, the tricks at the end are shit. They're undoable. And just everything explained in that book is garbage. I don't know how Vernon was able to make a career out of that book, but Expert Card Technique is definitely more in tune with the stuff that I like. It's divided very easily. The chapters are split up very, very well. So I much prefer Expert Card Technique to Expert at the Card Table. So yeah, so is that it? Are we good? Is that a stream? Is that the heat stream, boy? Is that the heat stream? Let's see. Piggy, where's Showbot when you need him? You could still have an hour more break after this. Don't be too long. Remember what happened before? 3 people for 7 minutes. I don't. That was a test. That was a test stream. But yeah, guys, I'm going to call this a stream here. I really enjoyed this particular stream. It's been fun. I'm going to leave it up because this one is a little bit different. It's just talking about a particular thing that's happening in the Magic community with David Copperfield and his whole lawsuits. So it's interesting to see what you guys have to say about it. What, you know, I guess to do this. Yeah, so that's kind of it. I'm grateful that y'all stuck around. I'm going to go figure out different ways to drink Febreze without having explosive diarrhea. TBH.